You ever look back a moment and think, yeah, that's where everything shifted? For me, it was a Tuesday night. Not a dramatic Friday, not some fancy holiday, just a plain, dull Tuesday. The kind where the microwave clock is the loudest thing in the room. She stood by the counter, holding her phone like it was a loaded gun, and said, I think I need more from life, Mark. More. That word hit me like a slow punch. What do you mean more? I asked, leaning against the fridge. More what? More plants? More sushi nights? I can order extra wasabi next time if that helps. She didn't laugh. She never did when she was serious. Her face was calm in that way people get when they've already made up their mind long before they start talking. More than this, she said, waving vaguely around our small apartment. The one bedroom with the view of the laundromat and the constant hum of the ice machine down the hall. More than routine. I want passion, adventure, something that feels bigger. Bigger, I repeated, because echoing someone's words buys you 3 extra seconds to figure out what's happening. And that was it. That was the night I lost Lisa. I didn't know it yet, but I could feel something closing, like a door slowly shutting while you're still halfway through it. She packed her stuff that weekend. No screaming, no crying, no dramatic scene. Just folded jeans, careful silence, and that fake smile people wear when they're trying not to feel guilty. You're a good guy, Mark, she said while zipping her bag. Really? You deserve someone great. I had someone great, I said. But she's apparently chasing adventure. She looked down. You'll understand someday. Spoiler, I didn't. We've been together almost 4 years. Met at a barbecue at my buddy Travis's house. She was holding a paper plate piled with ribs, trying to figure out how to eat them without looking like a monster. And I handed her a wet napkin. She said, You're a lifesaver, and smiled. That smile, it was simple, warm, the kind of smile that makes you think, yeah, maybe I won't die alone. Back then, she wasn't talking about bigger. She was talking about how her old car didn't have AAC, and I told her my old Chevy barely had brakes. We clicked because neither of us had our lives together. It was refreshing. I wasn't rich, but I had a steady job at a logistics company. Paid the bills, didn't hate it. We rented a small place outside Cincinnati. Fridays were pizza nights. Saturdays, sometimes Netflix, sometimes drive-ins if the weather was nice. She liked cheesy horror movies. I liked that she'd jump at the smallest scare and grab my arm like we were in an actual apocalypse. That's what love looked like for me. Simple, stable, calm. Apparently, for her, that eventually translated to boring. A few months after she left, word got around she was dating someone new, Greg. You know the type before you even meet him. Expensive smile, car that looks like it costs more than your annual salary, shirts so crisp they practically have a personality. He ran some consulting firm, which in my head just means a job that sounds made up but pays way too well. Travis was the first to bring it up. Dude, he said over beers at Murphy's bar. I saw Lisa at the farmer's market. Guess who she was with? Her mom. He snorted. Try Mr. Rolex himself. Dude looked like he ironed his jeans. Good for her, I said, pretending I didn't care. Hope he's got good health insurance. Come on, man, Travis said. You're really okay with it? I'm not okay, I said. I'm surviving. There's a difference. He nodded. Well, if it helps, she looked kind of fake happy. Fake happy's still happy, I said. And that was the last we spoke of it for a while. But of course, curiosity's a disease. I try not to check her Instagram, but temptation's a sneaky bastard. Every photo was hashtag goals. Private jets, wine tastings, rooftop selfies in Miami. She went from grocery store selfies to yacht photos in under 6 months. I showed one to my coworker Denise during lunch. She's glowing, Denise said. That's what money does. It reflects light. Or it's the filter, I muttered. The pretend your life's perfect filter. Denise laughed. You sound bitter. I'm not bitter, I said, stabbing my salad like it owed me money. I'm observant. Here's the thing. Time doesn't heal everything. It just makes the wound part of your furniture. You walk around it every day until it's just there in the room with you. By the next spring, I was okay-ish. Got a promotion. Started running. Met new people. One woman, Natalie, even stuck around for a bit. Sweet, smart, funny. But every time she smiled, part of me compared her to Lisa. That's not fair to anyone, but it happens. I wasn't ready, and Natalie eventually picked up on that. "You're a good guy, Mark," she said when we split. "Yeah," I said. "I've heard that before." Then, about a year after Lisa left, I got the text. I was at a gas station, filling up, half asleep, when my phone buzzed. The screen lit up, "Lisa." I swear, for a second I thought it was a mistake. Like a glitch in the universe. "Hey," it said. Just that. "Hey." That single word carried more weight than a therapy session. I stared at it for a minute, then replied, "Hey." "Long time," she wrote. Yeah, I typed. "A year, give or take." "You still in Cincinnati?" "Last I checked." There was a pause, one of those digital silences where you can practically feel someone typing, deleting, typing again. Then came the line, "You were the only normal one." I actually laughed out loud. Loud enough that the guy at the next pump looked at me like I'd lost it. "Define normal," I texted. She replied, "Caring. Decent. Not playing games. You actually listened to me." I didn't realize how rare that is. I didn't respond right away. I went home, sat on the couch, stared at the message. Then she sent another. "Can we talk? Just coffee or something." And that, my friend, was the moment my brain decided to have a full-blown committee meeting with itself. Travis, of course, had opinions. "You're not actually considering meeting her, right?" he said when I told him. "You remember how wrecked you were? I just want closure." Closure is just a fancy word for reopening the wound. "I'm not going to fall for her again," I said. "It's just coffee." "Yeah, and I just borrow my ex's Netflix password." Next thing you know, I was crying during the notebook. Still, I met her. We picked this small cafe downtown, the one that smells like fresh muffins and poor life choices. She was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window. She looked different. Not bad, just different. More makeup, expensive coat, nails perfect. But her smile, it had something missing. That spark she used to have when we'd make fun of movie villains or argue about pineapple on pizza. Gone. "Hey, stranger," she said softly. "Hey," I replied, taking a seat. "You look well." She laughed, but it sounded like it was trying too hard. "You too. You look calmer." Yeah, I stopped trying to impress people who don't like laundromat views. That earned a smirk. I deserve that. We ordered coffee. She stirred hers like she was hoping the answer to life's questions was at the bottom of the cup. "So," I said, "how's Greg?" Her face stiffened. "We're not together anymore." "Oh, turns out, money doesn't make someone kind. Or faithful." I raised my eyebrows but said nothing. "He was different from what I thought," she went on. "Charming in public, distant in private. Always on his phone, always busy." I kept telling myself it was just work, but she sighed it wasn't. "Sorry to hear that," I said. "Really? I thought success meant stability," she said quietly. "But it's just noise. You had peace. I miss that." That peace was us doing laundry at midnight and arguing about which cereal was healthier. She smiled faintly. "Yeah, and that was enough, wasn't it?" "For me, it was." She leaned forward. "I made a mistake." I took a sip of my coffee, mostly to buy time. "We all do." "I know," she said. "But some mistakes haunt you. You were good to me, Mark. You didn't deserve how I left." She looked genuinely sorry, and for a brief second, I felt that old pull again. The memory of laughter, the late-night talks, her head on my shoulder during thunderstorms. But nostalgia's a liar. It edits out all the boring parts, the fights, the quiet resentment. The way she'd scroll through real estate listings for cities we couldn't afford to live in. "I appreciate that," I said. "Really, but I think we're both where we're supposed to be now." "Are we?" she asked, her voice soft, almost hopeful. "Couldn't we try again?" There it was. The pitch. I looked out the window. A guy was struggling to parallel park, backing in and out, getting nowhere. That felt symbolic. "Lisa," I said finally, "you left because you wanted more." I didn't change. I'm still the same guy who likes takeout sushi and hates brunch lines. "I don't need big anymore," she said quickly. "I just want real." "Then find real," I said, "but not with me." Her eyes filled with the kind of silence you can feel in your chest. She nodded slowly. "You really moved on?" "Yeah," I said. "Eventually." We sat there for another minute, neither of us sure what to say. Then she stood up, smiled faintly, and said, "You were the only normal one." And then she walked out. You'd think that moment would feel triumphant, right? Like I'd finally won. But it didn't. It just felt quiet, peaceful, but in that lonely way peace sometimes feels. Travis later asked, "So, You finally got closure. I guess, I said. Or something like it. What did she say? That I was the only normal one. He snorted. Congratulations. You're officially average. Thanks, man. He grinned. Seriously, though, you did the right thing. I know, I said. Still weird, though. She used to be my person. He nodded. People change. Or maybe they just finally become who they were all along. A few months later, I was driving home from work when a song came on the radio. One we used to listen to on long drives. I didn't skip it. I didn't change the station. I just let it play. Because by then, it didn't hurt anymore. It just was. That's the funny part about life. Sometimes you lose something, and for the longest time, it feels like it's the end of your story. But then you realize it was just one chapter. A long, messy, complicated chapter that had to end so the next one could even start. Now, when people ask if I'd ever take her back, I just smile. No, I say. But I'm glad she remembered what normal looks like. And if you're wondering, yeah, I did meet someone later. Not a big romantic movie moment, no fireworks. Just met her at a hardware store of all places. We both reached for the same box of light bulbs and laughed. Her name's Erin. She's grounded, funny, and she doesn't care about yachts. When I told Travis, he said, "You sure she's not chasing adventure?" I said, "If she is, it's the kind that fits in a two-bedroom with a mortgage and mismatched plates." He laughed. You and your quiet life. Yeah, I said. Turns out quiet's not boring. It's peace. Looking back, I don't blame Lisa. Not really. People chase what they think they're missing. Sometimes they just don't realize what they had was already enough. But if there's one thing I learned, it's this. Being the normal one isn't an insult. It's a compliment from someone who finally saw the difference between noise and peace. And if I'm being honest, that's more satisfying than any "I miss you" text could ever be.